Good morning, and it's a full day today. And our Teddy has zipped off to get sugar for the coffee because yours truly didn't provide it. It's really upsetting. So if he comes back being ornery, you know what's happened. Right, to my left, your right, is Dave Rickman. And I met Dave about 6 months or so ago, and I chatted to him, and I started at about midday, and at midnight we still hadn't finished. And I thought, right, here's an interesting bloke. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you very much.
You have led quite a colourful life. And the thing that really intrigued me was you're an avid sportsman, and if there's a sport you haven't tried, we don't know where it is.
Do you know, I don't think there is one. I mean, I've done scuba diving and I've done archery. I haven't done parachute gliding, and I've no intention of starting doing it either. Not at my age. I've done rock climbing. I did a moderate severe once without realising it was a moderate severe because I climbed up without ropes. Haven't done mountaineering, but my main sports have been football and cricket and squash, really.
Nice.
So, they're the main ones. But,
Now, football and cricket, you've reached quite a high standard, haven't you?
Well, I always sort of think it was a reasonable standard, and then I watched people who were really good, and I think, well, I wasn't bad. I played in the first Vase final at Wembley for Epsom and Ewell. We lost, and I played for Isthmian League and Athenian Premier and so on. So it's been a reasonable standard, but.
Yeah.
I once had to play against Alan Devonshire when he was playing for Southall, and I was marking him. And if we'd won, we'd have been in the first round of the FA Cup proper. And I had to mark Alan Devonshire, and I couldn't even foul him. He was that good. And 6 months later, he was playing for West Ham. And a year later, he was playing for England. So I felt that was a reasonable excuse.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, many people would lust after appearing at Wembley, and you've done that.
I couldn't believe it. I was thrilled, obviously, And it was the first year that they initiated the FA Vase Cup. So, So we lost that one as well, unfortunately.
Yeah. But Wrexham are going places, aren't they? They're in the news recently.
Wrexham, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they've got American backers, haven't they? They've got 2 Hollywood A-listers who are backing them.
Yeah. Isn't the idea to take a little down market football club and get into the Premiership in, say, 5 years or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We were very lucky because we had the manager was a chap called Brian, or better known as Pat O'Connell, who played for Fulham several hundred times in the same team as Bobby Robson and Jimmy Hill and Johnny Haynes. And he took over Epsom and Ewell, and he managed to get a chap called Ray Bloy, who was the biggest butcher, and I mean genuine butcher, in that side of West London, and he lived in Ewell, and Pat managed to get him to back the team. So Epsom and Ewell, which was really on the skids, suddenly came up, and there were a lot of us who'd all played good football. Some of them have played better football than me. 2 of them went off to play pro for Millwall afterwards. Trevor Lee and Phil Walker, and very good players they were too. They were 2 of the first black players to play in our league, and it was great. They really set up the mark for an awful lot of other black players that followed.
Yeah.
But it was a wonderful time. Lovely club.
I'm famous for my red herrings. But you mentioned Bobby Robson. And I lived in Canada, particularly at the.
He was with Vancouver Whitecaps.
No, it's Vancouver Royals. And we went down to play the California or San Francisco Golden Gales, San Francisco Golden Gales. And I sat with the two managers. One was Bobby Robson, and the other
Terence Busquets.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Yeah,
I can elaborate on that story for
Right,
you
yeah.
because Pat O'Connell was Brian Robson's assistant manager at the time. The same guy was at Epsom, and I don't know whether I should say this story because it's a little bit detrimental to Robson, but Pat told us that he'd heard rumours that Robson had got the Ipswich job, and of course Pat had gone with his wife out to Canada to make a new life, and he asked Robson if the rumours were true, and Robin said no, and I'll let you know, you'll be the first to know. And Pat said 2 days later he was back in England with the job, leaving Pat out there. And Terence Busquets took over, and he said it was wonderful. He did a press conference, and this tubby guy sat there with the ball, just sitting there, keeping the ball up on his feet for the entire press conference. Yeah.
Pancho was his nickname.
Pancho, yeah.
Now, just if I can continue with that, because I also met some of my boyhood heroes who were very daring, and when anything starts, you're never quite sure where it's going to go.
It's going to kick off.
But in Vancouver, Peter McParland.
Aston Villa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The man who actually repeatedly broke Charlton's neck in the cup final. Do you remember Bert Charlton?
I thought it was Ray Wood's neck he broke.
Perhaps you're right.
I thought it was Ray Wood.
It may be, yeah.
But you know.
Yeah. Memory plays strange tricks, isn't it? But anyway, I mean, Peter broke somebody's neck.
Yeah.
But the other mover and shaker was Vic Crow. And so there were some big names up there trying hard to, and I love pioneers because I think that they are an unsung hero.
Yeah.
They should be the people getting the bloody medals, not the people who stride the corridors of Westminster.
Well, they tried to get American football to take off, and it didn't. You know, and a lot of ex-pros. There were a lot of Brazilians out there as well who joined. In fact, I had a friend. I'm trying to think of his surname now. It was Dave someone or other, and I played with him at Southall, and he went out to play for one of the American teams for a couple of years as well. So they weren't all ex-pros. They were taking good amateur players as well.
When was that? What year was that? That was, what, 70s, was it? Or?
In the 70s, yeah.
Well, I played, it was 70, I'm trying to think when I played with Southall. I think it was about 72 or 3 that Dave went out.
That would be it.
Yeah.
That was the America's first stab at association.
That's
football.
right, and it didn't work out, unfortunately, and it also.
I think Rodney Marsh went out there for a while.
He did.
Well.
Yeah, George Brett went out there, didn't he?
Well. Yeah.
Some good players went out.
I saw George Best and Rod Marsh playing in the same Fulham team.
Well, you would have done, yeah. I actually went down to Fulham to watch them play as well. And bearing in mind, I'm an Arsenal supporter, you know.
We'll forgive you.
Well, to be fair, I was born going north 2 streets up from Islington. So just over the Hornsey border.
All right.
Yeah, and I lived there, Northwood Road, I think it was called. And I lived there with my mother, who was a single parent, until I was about 9. I loved it. But of course, the Arsenal was only, a walk away.
Yeah.
So of
And-
course it was the same
Straight away.
slate.
That's right. And I had my mother had some friends around the corner. I used to call her Uncle Nat and Auntie, I forget her name, Lucy. And he had a stall at Petticoat Lane.
Oh,
He had a hat stall, and I used to go down there and get the teas and do a bit of sweeping up and whatever. And he used to take me to Arsenal. So, you know, the first time I was there was 1951. So, I mean, I got off to a good start.
Yeah.
So you are a confirmed Gooner.
Did you watch the 1953
Cup final.
Matthews final? Yeah.
There's a story that goes with that, and this is a good one. We used to play on bomb sites, as a lot of London kids did,
right.
without realising the horror of it. Because obviously the war had finished, there was no noise, there was just all this mess. And we used to go over them because you would find toys. And none of us realised that these were people who'd been bombed out. We were just kids, you know, 6, 7 years old. And in those days, kids were let out on the street. We did just go.
Oh, yeah, golden days in that sense. Yeah.
And
the good old days, they were.
well, yes and no, because those places were dangerous. And I remember we climbed over the wall of one, and that was just on the Islington side of the Hornsey Bridge, what used to be called Suicide Bridge, because it was. Yeah. And we were playing, and I was being a bit daring, so I went inside this sort of group of houses looking for things. And then suddenly I heard a shout from my mate. He said, "Dave, it's the police." Sorry, he probably said, "Dave, it's the police." And so I come charging out, and there's two what looked like giants, you know. And it was then that I learned I had a body swerve. Because I ran and went round, straight round them, over the wall. But I was wearing my school cap, and it had my name in, and it fell off.
Yeah.
So
Nothing like leaving a trail.
And I remember it because I got home and the people downstairs had a telly, Uncle Reg and Auntie Vi, and I could go down and watch the football. So I actually watched it, sitting there shivering, waiting for the police to knock on the door. And I went to school on the Monday, absolutely frightened, because of course the school cap, was distinctive. Anyway, they didn't come. I think they couldn't be bothered. But that's why I remember that final.
Right.
Because that was, to say, the day I learned I had a body swerve.
You can't show us that now, can you?
Oh, I couldn't. No, I'd fall over. First turn, you know, I'd be gone.
Now, how about bat and ball?
Right. I played cricket at school. But we had a couple of guys, Trevor Birchmore, who could bowl. I still see him occasionally, Trevor. Anyway, I didn't get a chance to bowl. I was just a fielder and then tried to keep my bat in the way of the ball. But we were playing in shorts. And, you know, we were fairly poor. There were 3 brothers, 2 step-brothers and 1 half-brother, and couldn't afford whites in those days. And cricket gear now is quite cheap. Yeah. But in those days, they were white flannels, weren't they?
That's right.
And, you know, the boots and everything else. So, well, the school had the pads, although I'm not sure that they would have stopped very much. Anyway, it was that or athletics. And I was quite a good hurdler. And spikes, it was spikes or cricket gear. So I did the athletics. And then
what did you do at athletics?
Hurdles. I ran in the Middlesex sports,
right, okay,
and you know, think I came third or something like that. 110 yards hurdles, it used to be called in those days. And I didn't play cricket again until I was 50. And I was in my local pub, and there was a, sheet on the wall. Anyone who wants to play cricket, and this was when I'd moved down to East Sussex, so it was village cricket, and said anyone who wants to play against Hadlow Down, sign up. So I thought, well, why not?
Yeah.
So I did, and to my astonishment, I got 4 wickets. I was quite fast, bowling. And they asked me if I'd come and join them. Hadlow Down. We beat them. I mean, the pub beat them. I had no right to. And so
Hadlow Down were semi-pro, were they?
No, just a village team.
Right.
But there was good players in it. People who played good cricket. And then there was me, and then they made it up with some of the locals who weren't quite so good. There was
beer matches.
Yeah, quite. And and to my astonishment, I was a decent bowler. So I went. They said to me, "Come and play for us," and I said, "No, I'm not good enough. I'll because I didn't know what the normal cricket was like."
Yeah.
And I said, if you're ever short, give me a call and I'll fill in. And so they gave me a call, and I ended up the next 5 years there.
Oh, right.
And then we played Uckfield one day, who were county something, and they asked me to come and play for them. So I did. It was just a better standard.
Yeah, county professionals league.
No, they weren't professionals. Oh, no, nowhere near that.
There is an interim competition which is set up by the ECB, I think. I saw, I was reading something actually online last week about it, and it was like the intermediary or something like that, like a middle level where basically, sort of like, and it's incredible when you actually looked at it, because you've got veteran teams going up to about 65, I think.
Well, that's what I was about to come on to, as I played for the next, it must have been, I don't know, 8 years, 10 years. Well, I played until I was 70. But I got into the Sussex over 60s team.
That's right.
Right.
And we ended up touring the Gambia. And
Oh, yeah, great stuff.
yeah, so I mean, to my astonishment, I found I could play cricket. I had a sort of a 50-year hiatus,
You had a break.
Yeah.
Even when you didn't realise you were taking a break, you're actually having a break.
That's right. I got on with the rest of my life. Well, the thing is, the cricket is, it takes you away from the entire day.
Yes, that's right.
And I always, even then, felt it was a bit selfish, to partners. As I got older, I didn't care anymore.
Welcome to the
Shouldn't
club.
say that, should I?
Right, now, I'm trying to jam into an hour all the things you've done, because you're a man of many parts. You were a teacher.
Yeah, I didn't go to college till I was 24. Basically, I did all sorts of things before then, which maybe we'll talk about another time. I don't know. I mean, it was quite.
We can go back to that.
It was quite fruitful before. But when I'd been hitchhiking round and picking tobacco in America and Canada, and I got back to England in September '69, and I thought, what on earth am I going to do? I thought, I know, I'll be a teacher. Well, my mother had been a teacher. She was emergency trained after the war, because she'd been a corporal in the army during the war. And so I went to college, and I managed to get in a week after it had started. So I scraped in. and really had all the luck in the world because my life really took off after when I went to college.
Uh-huh.
It was
Where were you at college?
a place called Mariah Gray. It's now part of what's the name of the one out by West London University? Brunel University
Right. Yeah.
took it over.
Yeah.
But when I was there, it was magnificent. It had previously been a women's college, and we were only the second intake of men, which was rather nice.
Were the women waiting for you? With
when
open
I first went there, the first night I got there, shown my room. In the morning, I asked someone where the refectory was for breakfast. And they told me, and I got to the end of the corridor, and a woman, when she only been 18, 19, walked up, and I just held the door open for her. And about 5 minutes later, I'm still standing there holding the door, and this stream of women walked past, and I thought, I'm going to enjoy this. And I did.
And what sort of training did you receive? General or specific? Or?
I chose PE, and I was very, very lucky because the guy who was in charge of PE, a guy called Roy Groves, had played in goal for Kingstonian. And I suppose, and I went, after a year, I went to Kingstonian and started playing, and he rather liked that idea. So, I was well looked after, and the education group I was in, there was a smashing guy called Ron Cooper who was a Brixton boy. Not Brixton. It'll come to me in a moment.
Yeah.
But certainly South London, and he all the misfits they put in his education group, which was great because everyone, was fun, and everyone had decided they were going to change their lifestyle. One guy was the area rep for Truman's Brewery, and yeah, and another guy.
That was a good guy to know.
Very, very good.
And there was another chap who, what was his dad? Something Bond, but he was a serious artist that people knew about. So yeah, it was a great group. Everything that I met at college was just right for me, including Liz, who I got married to.
Well, there we go.
Yeah. I was president of the union for a year. And then at the end of the 3 years, in those days, it was a 3-year certificate course. And if you got sufficiently high marks, then you were invited back to do the Bachelor of Education degree, which fortunately I got. So I was at college for those 4 years, plus the 1 year as president of the union.
What age were you then?
Well, when I left, it was 20.
When you actually went?
24.
34 when you went.
Yeah, and I was 29 when I left, almost. So, it was utterly irresponsible. I really was living a 60s life.
Yes.
And I got away with it.
Yeah.
There are lots of people who didn't. And funnily enough, 2 weeks ago, I was up in Richmond for a college reunion with some of the mob that were in my year.
Yeah.
So there were about, 12, 14 of us up on Richmond Green.
Now, you've used the word lucky several times. Lucky to do this and lucky
All right,
to
fortunate.
Fortunate. But you seem to have led a charmed life.
It does feel like that. I have to say, because all sorts of things could have gone wrong. They really could.
But they went right.
They did. I was always positive, and I I like to think fairly honest. I wasn't always honest with in terms of removing things that weren't nailed down, but early on, before I was a teacher.
I'm with you there.
Well, that's right, Ted. I mean, in those days, I think if you were from a poor family, you know,
Exactly.
you didn't worry too much about where it had come from, did you?
And you know what? It's quite commonplace. I know exactly what you're saying. It's like everyone was at it.
Yeah,
Which is all part of down to when you grow up in poverty, you see stuff, and of course every now and again you just pick stuff up.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
Yeah, right. I mean, and we were in poverty. You know, we had 2 rooms at the top of the house. The toilet was 4 flats down.
Yeah.
You know, it was, and it wasn't an easy time.
Yeah.
I unfortunately was diuretic, which must have been absolutely torture for my mother.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, that means I wet the bed. So, you know, life was hard for her. She married a widower when I was 9, or just coming up 9. He had 2 children, and they married. We moved to Edmonton, Tottenham country, and they had a boy, John. I'm still the oldest boy, Peter. Introduced me to athletics. He was 3rd in London high jump, actually. Went to Hackney Downs School, and he used to take me to athletic meetings at the White City.
Oh.
So I was very lucky to saw a couple of world records there as well, Chris Chataway and the like. And the other brother, Mike, I'm still very close with, and we see each other regularly. And John, my half brother, exactly the same. In fact, I'm going over to him in September to celebrate our birthdays, because they're 1 day apart.
Really?
Yeah. So
how long were you a teacher?
That's quite funny. One of the guys, Jeff Niblett, smashing bloke, who was on our course, when I left, because I took early retirement as a head teacher.
Right. Okay. Now let's go down your career to the time you became a head.
Well, Jeff actually said his joke was that I was the last one in because I was late at college, and the first one out. So I retired as a head. I think it was. I'm trying to think. I was about 57, I think, and I started teaching when I was 29.
Nice.
And after I was a head teacher, I did lots of supply work. I did consultancy work, you know, backup stuff. Again, I was lucky, you know. I had a friend from college who was teaching in East Sussex, so he got me in.
Yeah. So networking or going back to your roots. Yeah.
Well, again, you know, you mentioned luck, and you know, there's another example.
Yeah, indeed. So from a teacher, you became a head teacher.
I did, yeah. It started off, I was acting head. It was a school. They were thinking of closing it, and so they didn't want to appoint a head, and they put in basically people who they thought might become heads in future. And the guy before me, Rick, smashing bloke, but he tried to change the world, and the school wasn't ready for it. The staff weren't. And when I went, I did exactly what Andy, it was interesting actually, because I did exactly what Andy Burnham is doing now. What can I do now to make your life easier?
Right.
Never mind about the big things, they're in hand. But, you know, let's get everyone on side. So the first staff meeting, I walked in and I said, write down 3 things that I can do for you in the next fortnight that will make your life better, and then you can go home. And they did. And I said, you don't have to put your name on it if you don't want to. And of course, I was able to get them on my side to start with. So I was there for a couple of years, and then I got the substantive post.
Right. So how long were you a headmaster?
Teacher.
Teacher.
Head teacher.
Head teacher.
We don't say headmaster.
No, I know, but I went to an all boys school.
yeah, well, it's different.
But believe me, when I was off the leash at university, it was different.
Only about 4 or 5 years, and I took early retirement because I was living down here and commuting up, and it just, it was killing me.
Right, yeah.
And at that time, East Sussex they were operating a closed shop. If you were from outside London, it was hellish difficult.
Yeah.
Even to get a teaching job, let alone to get a head teaching job.
They closed Franks.
Sorry?
Did they close?
Ring fenced.
Really?
Yeah, it was ring fenced.
Yeah.
So I had to go out, if I wanted it, I had to go up to London. But it did mean that when I retired on London waiting, so much better than in fact, right. I think I retired on almost as much as I would have earned down
here. Your pocket okay, yeah.
yeah.
Now, apart from sport, what did you do once you hung up your boots from teaching?
Well, I didn't hang up my boots till I was 70.
Right.
I scored my last goal when I was 70. The Maresfield veterans. I carried on teaching until I was 70.
Right.
And then one day I was in assembly, and it was my class's assembly, and I realised that I'd forgotten one of the children's names, and I just thought, that's it, time to retire. You can't go doing that. So I did. And after that, messed about, I suppose.
Well, okay, we messed about. Unlike you, I never retired. But what did you mess about at? Because you led a very colourful life. You got involved in all sorts of things.
Well, after I retired?
Yeah.
Well, luckily I had some good friends. I think, if I'm honest, as with so many people, I think COVID really was one-on-one. So it's at my capital, and I when we came back, because I got an American lady whom I'd worked with in the past, who kept an eye on things, and she phoned me or emailed me, I can't remember which, but she said, Keith, Microsoft have found a way to broadcast via phones, but they've limited it to Hollywood. But if it works, which I'm sure it's going to, it'll become generally available. Right.
So I heard from about 2 months later, and she said, yes, they're doing it. I took the phone, and I sat with a bathing bowl outside Cafe Nero at 5 o'clock in the morning, broadcasting on the phone.
Wow. So you got lucky in a way.
I did, yeah.
It's as they say, it's
but
cold wind that
I'm
blows no one
fascinated
anything.
with the way that you react to adversity, because I know how I've reacted, and a lot of people who and got the support, social support and so on, they don't understand what the pressures are that we suffered, but that in many ways it was great for creatives like us. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I've always read a lot. So again, COVID gave me a chance to catch up on stuff. I kept myself occupied, but not physically, and that was the worst of it. And I'd already had knee surgery, so I had a new knee. and my back started to go. I mean, after all those years of football and squash and cricket, I couldn't really complain when my back started to go. So basically, I wasn't quite housebound, but I didn't do as much as I would have liked to have done, or ought to have done, really. So, in a way, I'm only just getting back to it now.
Yeah. So, what are you doing now? Because
I'm
I know from the both at the back there that you're a very active guy, and that society had better watch out.
I've got a full week next week. Oh no, this week. No, I'm quite lucky. Ted and I had an old friend called Abby, who unfortunately died last year.
Pity.
Absolute lunatic, but wonderful fun. And he died. Well, I was part of a walking group that he was, and up on the Lewis Downs, and he suddenly just went down.
Cranked it.
Yeah, just cranked it. I think birthday altar, and that was him. But by that time, I wasn't able to do the walk. I used to do the après walk. Meet in the pub afterwards. But I'm lucky, Ted looks after me, makes sure that I get out, don't you?
Well, I try to, because you know what? Again, you're a friend, and for me, getting out is what it's about.
Yeah.
I mean, since I've taken over this, it's taking more time up than I envisaged it would. But I don't mind. But as long as I can get at least a couple of days out in the week, just to give myself a break. Just to get out in the real world. And
Mine's the other way around. I mean, I need a real break.
You know what?
This is wonderful for me,
Hence, we're a friend, and I know you enjoy coming out in the company. So
well, that's right. I mean,
that's what it's about.
I mean, Ted and I go down. It's funny because when we were with Abby, and Abby was a hell of a drinker. He really was, and of course, if you go with someone who's a drinker, and it's not that I'm, I'm not calling myself a saint because so was I. But
remember the last time I saw him in the blind basket, him and Dave.
Him and he really was bad, wasn't he?
Dave. God,
yeah, I thought it was going to hit us.
Yeah.
Now, but Ted and I will go to cricket. We might only have a pint.
Exactly.
Sometimes we don't have any. You know, so it's.
We get the day nighter on Friday.
You and Teddy are very similar, and I can see why you're friends. So, what occupies your mind? Because I know what occupies his. Apart from 10 wives and 16 kids. But
I've been married 3 times.
Hold on, please. This is not about me.
My romantic life's been quite good as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So pot calling kettle, both of us really.
Yeah. So what do you do now? I mean,
I've got son and daughter. In fact, yesterday I was with my son and his wife and my fairly new grandson, who was 18 months old, Danny, lovely little boy. And I'm going over to my daughter, who lives at Horham, on Wednesday, and she's got 2 girls. So I really feel quite.
You've got quite a good family life.
And fairly near. Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely think. I went to the proms in the paddock.
Oh, right.
The other night. For people who don't know what proms in the paddock is, it's choirs and musicians and so on who play in the paddock here, which is a sports ground. Not really a developed sports ground, but the schools use it and so on and so forth. So it's a nice natural hollow, and we sit out and have a picnic and listen to the music, and it's amazingly popular. And I said to my companions, what I really like is seeing families coming.
Mm.
And in many ways, society, at least publicly, has sort of pushed family aside. So with people such as yourself who cherish it and try to develop it, I think that you're the present day heroes.
Well, I was very lucky in one sense because um, my son was living up in London and he wanted to, wanted to buy a house, but I mean, he was a doctor, or not medical doctor, a PhD in physics, but wasn't earning enough. So I said to him, well, why don't you come and live with me? It means you've got to commute up to London. I mean, he was at Imperial College and whatever, and a company in Ealing,
Right.
cryogenics. So that was a science job. And I said, well, you can come and live with me. You'll have to put up with awful commutes, but you will be able to save. And he was able to save the deposit for a flat. I mean, he was with me for 2 years. But that was but it was marvelous for me because, and for him, because we really bonded. I mean, to have your son living with you when he's 40 and you're,
And to me, you see, these are the stories that we bring out. That's a wonderful story to me.
And me, because I'm so lucky when, I always say to people here, you're so lucky to have your family close enough to actually physically turn up and spend time with them.
Yeah.
And, myself, my kids all live miles away. So believe me, you're so lucky, Dave. And it's something that and it's something that I always said to Abby, that to have his family as close to him.
Oh yeah.
As possible, it was brilliant. I love stories like that.
I mean, Abby was lucky with his family because he was dreadful with them.
He was.
But,
he was actually.
But then my kid's mum and I divorced when I don't know, she was 15 and he was 16. The only good thing about that was that we didn't have to pay tuition fees when they went to university. Yeah, we were able to get away with that one, single parent, and it took them quite some while to get over it, I have to say. It hurt them, but both now are married and long-term relationships and lovely kids. They've got houses, so. And they live, I mean, Tom lives in Tunbridge and Christy lives in Horsham. So, it's quite an easy job to see them.
Yeah, but nonetheless, the fact is, they want to see you and you want to see them.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in many modern families, that's simply the attitude is, oh God, we've got to go see the old boy, and that obviously is not the attitude that your children take or you take to your children.
Well, it was interesting because to start with, they both blamed me for the marriage splitting up. And as time went on, they realised actually it wasn't me. And I, hand on heart, obviously I've given it a lot of thought. And obviously my life with sport came into it, but very often I took the kids with me. And my ex we bought a horse. She loved riding. So, which I got into as well, by the way. I didn't mention riding.
We'll go back to that. Because
I got a novice B rosette for a clear round. That is one of my great sporting achievements.
Over the sticks?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the horse did all the work. I clung on for dear life. But nevertheless, I got round.
I've actually always wondered, do the horses automatically jump the fence?
No.
You have to.
No, you have to point them in the right.
Bridle,
Yeah, you have to point them in the right direction
Yeah,
and give them a bit of what's called promotion, a little kick. But yeah, eventually they realised that it wasn't all me, and they came back to me, and a couple of times I said, look, if you're going to carry on like this, then I don't want any part of you. It's up to you. But I'm not going to be constantly blamed for something that wasn't my fault.
Yeah,
and they took that on board, thank goodness. See, there's another bit of luck.
It always takes two.
They needn't have taken it on board, but they did. And now I've got a really good, close relationship with both of them.
That's good. That's good. Can I go red herring?
Go on.
Can I tell you my horsey story?
Go on.
Because I was never very good in the saddle. But in Vancouver, the radio station that I worked for initially used to do the races, called the races in Exhibition Park, which was the, where the big boys race the horses. And so because we did that, we had a free box. So one night I took my wife and my daughter and I used the box. And I was sitting in it and somebody I knew walked by and said, oh, how's the job? And I jokingly said, oh, great. Two of John Wayne's autographs are worth one of mine now. And I heard, and turned around, and there was the man. Chortling away.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, look behind you first.
Yeah. Now, you said there was a considerable amount before the formal things we did, and we said we would come back to them. So we've still got another 10 minutes left. Let's go back to at least a few of them, because you're such an attractive personality. I want to get you back in a couple of weeks' time.
Well, that's very kind. Thank you. I'm quite enjoying this. I don't normally talk about myself quite that much. A bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes we are reluctant to talk about ourselves. We've all got a great tale to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been a number of years, hasn't it?
So let's go back. Let's go back to the bits and bobs thing.
Right, to where?
Well, you said before you really got stuck into the more formal sports, you did all sorts of things that was another story. So let's go back to the other story.
What, football?
Well, is football is part of it, yeah?
I was always good, with modesty. There's no point in false modesty. I played for the Borough when I played in Edmonton, at junior, primary school, and also when I went to Edmonton Latimer School, and I also played for the Borough when I was playing for them. And I met a guy when I think I was about 18, and I met a guy. Actually, he was the boyfriend of a girl I used to go out with, and she brought him round to show him off to me, and we became very good mates. And unfortunately, she got sort of slightly left to one side. And this guy, Jimmy Ridding, he took me to his Sunday club. And the guy who was the trainer of the Sunday club was also the trainer of Edmonton Tufnell Park in the Athenian Second. And he got me in. He just said, "Oh, come along to training," and I went in. So and I was into the team. So I played for Athenian, and then I stopped. And the reason I stopped was because it was so filthy. I was getting kicked all over the place. I played up front, and in those days, it seemed like you could tackle from anywhere you liked, And I just, would you remember that, Ted?
And I often did. I was defender.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I often did.
You might have been one of the buggers who kicked me then. Anyway, I packed it up, and then a friend of mine And no, I went to Enfield, train. Just another guy I met. He said, "Well, come along, pre-season training." So I went along to Enfield, and at the time they were one of the top amateur teams, weren't they, Ted?
They
Senior
were.
amateur teams in the
Yeah.
country.
Well, their names are still in the same.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
they're nothing like what
No,
they
they-
were. I mean, then they were, they you know, professional teams would hate to meet them in the cup draw because they were so good.
They were always higher in the league pyramid
Yeah.
than they are now.
Yeah, much higher, much higher. Anyway, I went along, and to my astonishment, they asked me to play for them, albeit only the reserves, but nevertheless, I mean, I was playing with internationals in the reserves. And then, like I said, I was by that time, I'd left home, I was young, I was on my own, I had no idea really what I was doing. You know, what I call the wilderness years. You know, just going
Yeah,
around.
you're trying to find yourself.
Yeah, quite. And then when I went to college, I met another guy who I played with, different side of London altogether. You know, found a guy I knew really well in North London. He was living in West London, opposite where I was. And he said to me, "Well, you know, they've changed the rules, Dave." And I didn't know. I didn't know they could no longer tackle from behind. So I thought, well, I'll have a go. And he gave me his old gym pads. He decided to stop playing. And so I walked into Kingstonian for pre-season training. And the manager was on the pitch with the first team, and I was just walking down to the changing room. And the manager called out, said, Dave Rickman. I looked at him, I thought, what? And so did the other players as well. You know, this is because the manager was a guy called Tommy Dougal, who'd played with Len Shackleton at Sunderland.
Yeah. Well,
So that was the level that the manager was at. And Kingstonian were a good team in the Isthmian League. And the Isthmian League at the time was the best league in the south of England. And he said, "Get changed, lads, come and join us. You were the first team."
Was that National League level?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they were fairly high up in, just outside of the football.
That's right.
pyramid.
That's what the Isthmian League was.
Yeah.
You know, it was a terrific league. So that's why I ended up with Kingstonian for a while.
Well, you obviously have come across quite a lot of, as you say, internationals here and internationals there, and you
All better than me.
And, that kind of stuff. Well, you know, I mean, that's always a subjective thing, isn't it? But we never think that we're as good as we are.
You know, once someone said that to me, and I looked at him, I really didn't know what they meant. He said to me, "Maybe you're better than you think you are, Dave."
Absolutely.
And I thought, you know, if someone had said that to me before, I might have been more confident in the way I played. You know.
Yeah, maybe on the pitch you showed it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
David, we've been going 54 minutes,
I'm astonished.
and I think there is still an awful lot for you to tell us. More detail about your sporting life, more detail about your teaching life too. Let me ask you one question.
Go on.
I'm a rugby man.
Yeah.
That's why Teddy keeps me
I
up
love
on the
rugby
books.
as well.
Well, we can talk about that. But I watched the semi-final between what was it, Spain and Argentina.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the Argentinians were doing all sorts of things without the referee pulling up, putting their arms around and pulling people backwards and throwing them to the floor and so on and so forth. What was your view of that?
Well, funnily enough, I saw something on my phone the other day that someone had put on the Argentine rugby team playing, and they were exactly the same. And I wonder whether they see themselves as poor relations of Brazil.
Well, that could be. That could be.
Because they have some wonderfully skillful players, but they're filthy.
Yeah.
Their whole attitude is never mind the ball.
It's a very good point, that Dave, because actually they have some wonderful talent in that Argentina team.
Yeah.
From the likes of McAllister, who's really good midfielder.
And the goalkeeper, the lad Romero,
Exactly,
who plays
yeah.
for Tottenham. But Romero would just as soon not have a ball.
I know. I do not understand why teams with natural talent disguise it with quite honestly a rugby style attitude in football.
It's as I was saying about this rugby match. I don't think it's necessarily rugby style. I think it's about rule breaking.
That's an interesting theory. Yeah.
That they've got a relatively unlawful society.
Yes.
And so I don't think they see a collective thing.
Yeah.
Just think it's their general demeanour.
Well, it seems to be, and Argentine teams have been like that all through the years. It's nothing new.
Yeah, exactly. It's not new.
No, I'm amazed that they've been allowed to go as far as they have in rugby.
Well, it'll be interesting to see because, and again, you watch them at rugby, they never miss a conversion. They're all good at football.
Oh. Yeah.
Never miss a conversion. Boom, straight over.
Yeah, so don't let them anywhere near the post.
Yeah. I mean, but I just think it's a shame that winning is so important.
Yeah.
Someone taught me one thing. Probably it's a good one to finish on, Keith, and that is that I never had to win. I just didn't want to lose. And there's a slight gap between the two.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
And if I gave my lot and they were better than us, so be it.
Exactly.
And I didn't like losing. Of course I didn't. But it wasn't crucial. And I think with so many people these days, it is crucial.
Yeah, winning
win.
is everything.
It sounds like a lot of team sport, actually, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
It really does.
Well, I watched some of the athletics and the same. This guy who won the gold medal, the Scottish lad, won the gold medal yesterday, beat the world record. I listened to him being interviewed and I thought, this is obsessive.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, in many ways. I watch tennis, and in tennis, being individual, people seem to accept losing. It's in team sport that it becomes most apparent, especially professional football. I mean, it quite frankly, sort of like the reaction you get from certain people in football on the sidelines that
I think the sidelines are worse than
they
the
are,
players.
definitely.
Yeah.
I've seen it in non-league football when I get down on Sunday and watch odd football and stuff.
Yeah.
With young kids, parents.
Oh.
Disgusting. If it's not the right way to bring up children, in my opinion.
No, it's not, but it is the reality, unfortunately.
I mean, I was a county referee.
Oh, God.
That was one of the things I did when I stopped football. I didn't stop football, did I? I was playing as well, actually, veterans. But twice I've actually gone over to the touchline, once to a parent, and just said, if you don't stop, I'm stopping the game. And the other one, I said to him, I'm asking you to leave the ground or I stop the game.
Right.
Because I'm just not having that level of abuse. And I was always considered to be a fairly robust referee. I played the game.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I played the game. I didn't let people get away with that.
Yeah, you'd have sent me off if you were refereeing.
Well, I might have had a word or two, Ted. I might have made a suggestion.
Gentlemen, we're going to leave it there because we've just noticed over the hour. But Dave, I shall let Teddy fix you up to come back. You're a very attractive bloke to talk to, very interesting and exciting, and we've only brushed over some of your experiences, I'm quite sure. So thank you very much for this morning.
And we'll try and get you back, Dave, because I want an assessment of Arsenal's chances in the Premier League next season.
Oh, I can give you that now.
Right you are.
Keith, thank you very much indeed. I've really enjoyed it. And you're very good at this, aren't you?
I've been out of it a few years.
Yeah, you're very good at this. It's just you made it very easy for me to talk. Yeah.
Okay, single tip.
Right,
Yeah.
goodbye.
It's a
Thank you.